The day you were born, you were nothing more than a fragile, helpless human being, incapable of doing anything but breathing. If we were born alone, we'd be dead by day one. So what got us here? Love. When we're born, we're not alone. We're met with the love of our mother, our father. Well, sometimes not. It's written into our genes to protect our own. Love has made us capable of the impossible. We've overthrown empires, built new ones, forged nearly unbreakable bonds. We've stared in the face, and still that rush to protect what we love and who we love gives us the strength to face almost anything. You're chosen out of millions of possibilities. You grow up and you live a relatively comfortable life. Then you reach adulthood. You start looking for someone to connect with. You want to share your inner world with someone else, to bare your soul and be seen for who you truly are. But instead, you find a hostile world, a stressed out world. We trust each other less and less, and it's no surprise. Every time we turn on the news, it's mostly negativity. We start believing the world is getting worse every day. Individualism is everywhere. You're told to be the best, to love yourself, that you're all that matters. But what's wrong with that? Loving yourself isn't the problem. What hurts you and everyone else is thinking only about yourself. There's less and less room for empathy. Motivational coaches tell you things like, you're always right. If you make a mistake, there's always a justification. But when others mess up, it's because they're selfish, evil, trying to hold you back. Focus only on yourself. This mindset, combined with pessimistic, sensationalist news, is the perfect recipe for loneliness. We're living through a silent pandemic. People are more alone than ever. It's harder to connect. We're constantly being watched. One mistake and you become a target for ridicule and criticism. In a world like this, showing yourself is terrifying. And because of that, finding love becomes even harder. Orwell, on the other hand, warned about hypersurveillance. In 1984, there's an entity that watches everyone, everywhere. Big Brother. This model of surveillance can be described as a panopticon, a concept developed by philosopher Jeremy Bentham. It works like this. A central tower allows a guard to observe all prisoners who are confined in individual cells around it, without them knowing whether they are being watched. The key effect is psychological, a constant sense of visibility that ensures control, even if no one is actually watching at any given moment. Today, Big Brother does exist, but not exactly like in the novel. That omnipresent observer is right in front of you. The device you're using to watch this is the observer, and the ironic part? It doesn't even need your camera. We willingly share every aspect of our lives, consciously or not. From the moment we go online, we leave a digital footprint. Every page we visit, every post we engage with gets recorded. The internet ends up knowing us better than we know ourselves. We're being watched by the internet and by other people. Every day, it feels scarier not to fit in. One small mistake, and it's over. You're labeled weird, unstable, an outsider. People will insult you in the worst ways. Hidden behind anonymity, they'll wish you the worst, using words designed to hurt as much as possible, all just to push you to disconnect from social media or from life. That depends on how much damage they manage to do. Calm down. Just breathe. For someone going through it, hearing that can actually make things worse. I genuinely felt like I was running out of oxygen, because I felt like my blood pressure was dropping, because it actually was. The only thing that wasn't real was the idea that something catastrophic was about to happen. The first time I had an anxiety attack, I thought I was having a heart attack. That's the reward of the modern world, the price we pay for comfort and consumerism. It's no surprise we are living through a silent pandemic. Depression is rising, suicide rates are increasing. It feels like everyone is wearing an invisible mask, hiding the things that hurt them the most. But we don't open up, we don't let it out. No. We let it grow inside us, slowly consuming us from within until we collapse.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead.
This world doesn't feel very promising. And the truth is that, in one way or another, we are all living through our own personal hell, one we are unable to share out of fear that people won't understand us or will simply think we are crazy. Oscar Wilde once said, "Life imitates art far more than art imitates life, but sometimes it feels like the opposite." In fiction, authors pour their ideas and experiences into their work. That's the case with Makoto Yukimura. In Vinland Saga, there's a scene I love, where the priest Willibald explains to Canute what love really is. At first, Canute believes love is what we feel for our parents, children, friends, or partner, but the priest tells him that's not love, that's discrimination. Why? Canute asks. Willibald gives an example. People praise a king, yet allow that same king to have a slave whipped without question. The story takes place in the Viking era, when slavery was common. Now flip the situation. What if it were the king being beaten by a slave? People would be outraged. So what will pure, innocent love look like? Loving all humans equally. But does that really make sense? Can we truly love everyone? Even those who've done terrible things? Of course not. But here's the truth. You can't change the whole world overnight. What you can do is change your immediate surroundings, hate harmful ideas, but not the people themselves. Understand that someone raised in hatred may not know how to express love. How can you give something you've never received? Hate spreads easily. It's easy to hurt others, verbally or physically. What's difficult is staying composed in the face of injustice. Loving humanity means believing that someday we can be better than we are now. And that's it. That's the solution to everything? Just pretend nothing's wrong and move on? One thing I love about Vinland Saga is that it questions itself. It presents peace and stoicism as ideals, but later it hits you with a harsh reality check. Without spoiling too much, the story itself shows that living peacefully often means clashing with people who believe in an eye for an eye. If living a peaceful life feels easy to you, then you're lucky. You're surrounded by people who know how to coexist. But in most cases, people are going through hell. Some carry their pain silently, others take it out on the world, and some become so consumed by anger that they feel the need to inflict that same pain on others. When someone has suffered that much, how do you convince them to keep going? How do you tell them life is worth living? That there's always another way. But honestly, is there always another way? The case of Noelle Castillo reminds me a lot of Arne from Vinland Saga. Both are women whose lives have been filled with suffering, until they reach a point where they no longer see the point in continuing. Noelle Castillo was a Spanish woman whose life was marked by hardship. Her home was repossessed when she was just a child. Her parents divorced. She spent nights in bars while her father drank. At 13, she was diagnosed with OCD and borderline personality disorder. She lived in 2 juvenile centers. She was sexually abused by a former partner while she slept, and later gang raped by 3 men. Just days after that, overwhelmed by despair, fear, and pain, she jumped from a 5th floor window, and she survived. But the fall left her paraplegic, living with chronic physical pain, on top of the emotional trauma she had carried her entire life. On April 10, 2024, she requested euthanasia. On July 18, 2024, it was approved. It wasn't easy. Her father, supported by a Christian legal group, tried to stop it, arguing she wasn't mentally capable of making that decision. But Noelia stood firm. The courts backed her. After 2 years of legal battles, on March 26, 2026, at 8 p.m., Noelia Castillo Ramos received euthanasia. The religious institution and people who opposed her decision couldn't give her a reason to keep living. And honestly, how do you convince someone who has suffered their entire life to keep going? How do you tell someone to move forward when they've lost everything? Not everything. It's about mindset. Sometimes moving forward just isn't sustainable. If paradise ever existed, we've clearly been left out. Hell is right here on Earth. Maybe Noelia wasn't entirely wrong. Maybe staying here doesn't make sense. Or maybe love for humanity is what can still save us. Maybe we can resist our violent nature and build something better. Many have tried and failed, but at least they stood for something. They were righteous in a world full of injustice. Maybe that's what people mean when they talk about a better world. Maybe there's hope, but if that day ever comes, maybe none of us will still be here. For now, there's only silence, peace, a lifeless body that no longer feels pain, that harms no one, only loves. My body will feed dying animals, it will nourish plants, whose fruits will sustain other living beings. Yeah, that feels good.